Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and in this video I'm going to be listing off my top 5 favorite Canadian metal bands. So let's just get into it. So first up is the band Blasphemy. Blasphemy is sort of a war metal band, or bestial black metal as it's sometimes called. I'm not that too familiar with that genre for the most part. I've only heard maybe like a handful of bands. But Blasphemy's probably the one that stood out the most to me. Oh yeah, I also still need to get around to reviewing this album or EP or demo. Actually, it's a demo. Yeah, I've listened to pretty much all their stuff. It didn't take too long to get around to it. When I discovered them maybe like a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, somewhere around that. But it didn't take me too long to listen to their discography, mainly because their discography is pretty small. It only consists of one full-length album, a couple of demos, and a couple of live albums. But yeah, I will actually get around to reviewing their discography at some point soon, hopefully. Although I'll probably start with this one because I already own it. Yeah, sort of a very interesting subgenre of metal. Very, very raw. One of the most raw sounding metal genres. Very feral kind of thing. Yeah, Blasphemy does it so well. Out of the handful, out of like the handful or couple of bands that I've come across so far in this particular style, Blasphemy, like I said, does it, in my opinion, does it the best of the bands I've heard so far. Yeah, I'm sort of slowly getting into this genre. Yeah, Blasphemy. I think it's just the way the combination of the production and the overall just like ferocity and the intensity of the musicianship is what really sells it for me. Like, yeah, sure, a lot of bands do it, but there's a very specific sort of like overall feel to all of it. Like there's a specific vibe to this band in particular that I can't really sort of describe very well, but it's just something that's there that kind of puts it above the rest of the other ones I've heard, other bands of this genre that I've heard. But yeah, Blasphemy is amazing. I will get around to reviewing their albums at some point. Hopefully soon. I have a lot of stuff here to review, and anyway, awesome. Next up is a kind of forgotten about band, and that's Death Militia. This band didn't last long. I think they put out 2 demos, maybe 2 or 3 demos. I have to look back and research, but I'm pretty sure it was only like, I don't think it was even like three demos. Like, sorry, not, I don't think it was even 4. I think it was like 2 or 3. They have some rehearsal tracks and live tracks as well, but you can only really find those on like this compilation album. I think one other compilation album. But anyway, yeah, Death Militia, amazing, very obscure sort of underground thrash metal band. Now, with this compilation, contains their very, very, very rare, very obscure, and hard to get a hold of debut demo called Onslaught of Death, and has probably my favorite of their 2 vocalists. The vocalist they had later on is, in my opinion, one of the most blandest thrash metal vocalists ever, and the music got a bit bland as well. But this demo and the live recordings that go with it are absolutely fantastic. The music's actually legitimately good. The vocals are amazing, very vicious and just very intense. No, they're not like over. This band isn't overly technical. Again, this is just sort of like sort of fast, aggressive, sort of old school thrash metal. You know, there's no like overly technical thing going on or overly melodic or anything. You know, anything like that. It's just straight up old school, fast, aggressive thrash metal, and I absolutely love this band. Again, especially their first demo. Yeah, if you can, definitely get a hold of this compilation album. It's pretty much the only way you're gonna be able to get their first demo nowadays. Yeah, absolutely amazing band. All right, let's see. Coming in at number 3 is a band I still can't quite figure out how to pronounce. I think it's pronounced Vour, but I'm not entirely sure. This band is from Quebec, Canada. Now, even though that part of Canada speaks French, this band does. The vocals are spoken in English, but they're kind of hard to understand at times because they have a slightly heavy French accent to them. Luckily, this album does come with a lyric sheet. Yeah, just an absolutely fantastic, very underrated band. They would later make a comeback, kinda, a couple of years ago. They put out, you know, their first was it full length? It was either a full length or an EP, but they put out another one and another one. But they were only like, I think most of them, if not all of them, were digital format only, unfortunately. But honestly, I could kind of see why. They were kind of shit. But yeah, their debut demo is fantastic. The inspirations are very evident on here. Like, this band sounds like a mix of early Slayer and Paul Bostaph era Exodus, or not Paul Bostaph era Exodus. That's a different band. Early Slayer. What I meant to say is early Slayer and early Venom. There we go. So for some reason I was thinking of Blasphemy for a second. Not Blasphemy. Betrayal for a second there. I was getting those two bands mixed up. But no. This is not Betrayal. This is Vour. But yeah, a mix of early Slayer and classic era Venom, especially the first 2 albums. Yeah. Also, they do 2 really amazing covers on here. They did a cover of the Venom song Bloodlust and a cover of the Slayer song Cryonics. Yeah, some absolutely fantastic songs on here. Evil Metal, In the Hell, Creatures of War, No Title, and of course the 2 cover songs. And then their second demo, which is not the greatest, but definitely still worth a listen if you're curious. Yeah, just very awesome, very really cool sort of like combination of 2 different sort of sounds, you know, early Venom and early Slayer. The combination of those 2 styles are fantastic on here. Definitely worth checking out if you've never heard them before. Also get this compilation album mainly because, again, like with Death Militia, this is really the only way you could get the early demos. Alright, number 2. Number 2 is Slaughter. No, not the American glam metal band, the Canadian thrash metal band Slaughter. Yeah, this is one of the most aggressive, heavy, kind of punk, kind of sounding at times, sort of thrash metal band. It kind of teeters on the edge of early death metal at points. Especially when the vocals get super heavy. Like, they're still heavy, but like at times they get super like almost like a death metal-esque kind of vocal. They have some amazing riffs, really heavy, very, you know, energetic, kind of catchy at times. The solos are wild and chaotic, but also super memorable. Unfortunately, this band only ever put out this one album, and I think one demo after this as well. Yeah, even though they didn't do much, the one thing that they put out, like, yeah, sure, they put out a demo, but I think the demo was actually just repeats of certain songs that are on here. Not even the full track listing, just like 4 or 5 songs that were already on here. But anyway, yeah, just a single album for the most part. Again, the most notable thing they released. And it's fantastic. It's I'd say it's probably one of the heaviest mid to late 80s thrash metal albums ever. Like, it borders on the lines of early death metal at times. And I wouldn't be surprised if this band was like a lot of a lot of other early death metal bands' inspirations. Yeah, just absolutely fantastic songs on here. Like The Curse, Incinerator, super. I'd say it's on the more thrashier side than death metal side, but still awesome. Parasites, One Foot in the Grave, Fuck of Death, Tortured Souls, Nocturnal. Basically, almost the entire album except for maybe the first song, Strapato. Yeah, absolutely amazing thrash metal band. If you've never listened to them, definitely check it out. And my number 1 favorite Canadian metal band is Lethal Presence. This is another album I've just never gotten around to reviewing yet, unfortunately. But yeah, Lethal Presence is fantastic. This band was actually featured on the legendary Raging Death split, along with other bands like, of course, Ravage, which that band would later become Atheist, Executioner, which that band would later become Obituary. Betrayal was also on that split album as well. And I think, Sadist was the other one that was on there as well. So a lot of very early, death metal thrash, like a very a lot of thrash metal and very early death metal kind of stuff going on in there. But their songs, Lethal Presence's songs, were probably the highlight of that split album. This is actually a compilation album. It contains their first and only official release, which is their debut demo. And then it also has quite a few rehearsal recordings as well, and then 1 live song. Yeah, this band lasted, I think, around 85 to around 87 or 88-ish. They didn't last too long, unfortunately, which is, again, very unfortunate because this band is fantastic. Again, just like with Slaughter, definitely has a lot of stuff that could be considered early death metal. Yeah, great heavy riffing, great chaotic, shrieky vocals. Just really good sort of put together solos as well. Like, the solos can be pretty melodic at times. Yeah, just a fantastic band. And like I said, it's very unfortunate that they didn't do much after their debut demo. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Another band, if you haven't heard of it, definitely another band to definitely check out. Yeah. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.